Hi everybody, how are we all this afternoon? I've just been, while we were waiting to go live, just having a look who's here. So as always, apologies if I miss you as it's moving quite fast. There's lots of you here today. Bernadette, Jackie, Irene, Jan, Vicky, Tracy, Joe. Oh, Gemma from my design team, Gemma Hines. Who else we got? Leslie, Jan. Have I said Jan already? May, Viv, and everybody else in case I've missed you. Thank you so much for joining me again here in the Stamps by Me studio. If it's the first time you're here, then my name is Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush, and I'm here on a Thursday and a Sunday at 1 p.m. Doing some demos for you with our Thirsty Brush designs. So before we get cracking today, I have got a couple of things to tell you and update you on, so I won't ramble on too much, but just to cover those off before. Oh, hi everybody, saying hello. Salma, and anyway, Amanda. Oh, I heard your cat was found, Amanda. I'm so chuffed for you. And Tracy, I hope you're feeling a little better today. So, first thing to tell you is I am back on Create and Craft next week on Wednesday. So have a look at social media tomorrow, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're on, and I'll be giving details of the show times and the collection name, and you'll see some examples from my design team girls, Kerry, Leanne and Gemma. So they'll be showing you a few bits after I do that post tomorrow. And then earlier on in the week, next week, I'll be showing you what's exactly in the show, some lovely new designs, stamps, dies and stencils for you. And judging by the amazing things that you did with the last collection, the perfume ones, I'm sure you're going to absolutely love these too, because whenever I saw on social media once you got those perfumes in your hands, and I was so impressed and so inspired by all your different ideas, all your, you know, colour combinations and different techniques that you put together. You know, some ideas from me and the design team girls, but some that you just done yourselves, and it was really, really amazing. So what's happening here? I can hear everybody laughing. Is it someone saying, oh no, because there's more stuff coming? I know. Wow, what are you going to do? So as always here in the studio, you know, we're not here to, it's not a Create and Craft show where we're selling to you. However, I do let you know if there's any offers on our own website. So we've done a few before of the stamp and dies where you buy the stamp, get the die free. And I tend to demonstrate those then in the live studio so you can get to see them, because it can be difficult, can't it? You see things on a website and you think, how am I going to use that? What does it look like? How big are the stamps? So this week we've done like a bumper one, and there's actually 5 different stamp and die sets. So I will show you which ones they are. Please don't feel like you have to have these ones for the demonstration today. It's more about the technique, but you know, I've got to tell you which ones are on there so you can have a look at if you do want to get the exact one that I'm using. So I'll keep the one I'm using today for last. So there's the Born Beautiful, which is the foxglove, and you get 2 different sizes, wrong way. This huge one here and a small little one as well. And then some lovely sentiments. So all of these kind of stamp sets are A5. And then, so if you put that in your basket and check out either on thirstybrush.co.uk or the stampsbyme.co.uk, then we automatically send you the coordinating die set then, which fits, does an outline and a matte layer to go around the 2 flowers. So these offers are on until Monday, so Sunday's your last day. So you'll see the show on Sunday that will come out. I demonstrate a different one, so you've got some ideas for those. So this is the one I use on Sunday. This is the Thyme and Mint. Just got a question on there. Hello Claire, do you still sell the fuchsia? So the fuchsia is a new one. So that's part of the release on Wednesday. So I'll be showing you more samples for that and the product in the coming days, Julie. So do keep an eye on social media for that. Susan says she's got a couple of the buy the die, get the buy this stamp, get the die freeze. Yes, I think Tony showed them on her studio yesterday as well. So yeah, each one, you get whatever the coordinating die set is, whether there's outlines, whether there's dies for sentiments. This one's Special Day, which is a magnolia. And this bit, I always do this wrong, there we go. It's absolutely huge. I mean, that pretty much like fills a 5x7 card. And it's a really, really popular one. So as Kerry said on our social medias, these are the kind of things, sometimes we do little offers when we do the craft shows and things like that, and we're just not able to do that kind of thing at the moment. So, you know, it's really great for us to be able to do these things and just bring them to you direct on the website, even, you know, in between our Create and Craft shows. This one's a camellia called From the Heart, and the dies in these are quite special. Don't worry about the size on the packet in the back there. They do go around the edge of the designs, but you'll see this one here. So you can get like cutouts in the petals, so you can kind of curl them up and bring them out your paper. It's really, really, really cool. And then, so that's 4. And then the 5th one is the one that I'm going to use in the demonstration today. This one's called You're Invited, and it's this ginormous lavender set. Yeah, look, I did it the first time. And you do get a small one again, which we like for tags and envelopes, things like that. And then obviously you'll get that bit free. So I'll be using the stamps and a couple of the dies in today's demonstration. So now all those boring bits are out of the way, let's get on with some crafting. So this is my set of the You're Invited. So it's called that because there's been a really big trend building up over the last 6-12 months with wedding stationery being this like heather and lavender based designs. So I wanted to do something along that lines, but of course, so some of the sentiments are wedding related and anniversary and things like that. But of course you can use it for whatever you like, and I'll use the anniversary one today. But there is this lovely sentiment as well that can go for any occasion, which is a huge one, where it says, what would I do without you, which I think is lovely. So I'm going to use anniversary wishes and the 2 different sizes. And let's make it a bit like loose and watercolour-y today. So it's probably not a new technique that I'm going to show you, but I think it's a really nice way, sorry, that's a horrible noise, really nice way of showing off the design, and maybe if you haven't done this technique for a while, gives you a bit of a boost and inspiration again. So, ready ahead of time, I've got my 5x7 card blank that I think I'm going to have portrait? No, landscape. And I've cut down a piece of white card, just slightly smaller. I'm not going to do a matte layer that's darker like I do in a lot of cards today. I'm just going to do white on white. And I've got a bit of scrap black from my scraps box for the sentiment that we'll come back to later. So this is the bit I need now. And my Eureka. Joe says I love lavender. Yes, and me. My mum's got a huge lavender bush in her garden, and oh, just the smell. I mean, unfortunately I haven't been round to our house for a long, long time now. With all the coronavirus stuff, I like sitting in her garden in the spring and summer, and the smell from the lavender. I tried to grow one once, but I killed it, of course. So what I'm thinking is I want to have this portion of the card here quite like white and clean and simple, maybe the sentiment here. Sometimes I plan these things in advance, sometimes I just wing it. But yeah, I kind of had a picture in my head of how I wanted it to look today. Tell me guys, do you do that? Do you plan out? Any of you do those? I think they used to call them sketches, didn't they? Where you plan out the areas of your card and any matte layers you're doing, and sketch it out first on a bit of paper, or do you just like to go with it? So I've positioned them coming off the card there. and I'm going to stamp with, I've got my ever loved Distress Oxides. Now again, I know I say this all the time, but people say, why do you use the oxides? Why don't you use the inks? What's the difference? Blah, blah, blah. So again, just to quickly go over that, it's just my personal preference. I like the chalkiness of the oxides. You can stamp with them. They stay wet longer than the Distress inks, but you absolutely can stamp with them. I just tend to dry it off with my heat tool after. Yeah, and it's kind of a looser feel, I think, but there's no right or wrong. You just, whatever, you know, I know Tony and her little trolley over there, she's got a lot of the Distress inks rather than the oxide. It's just a preference thing. You can use either and or both. Excuse me while I have a little sip. Hi, anyone that's joining late. Hi, Nola. Anyone else? Hazel, haven't said hello to you yet either. Anyone else that's joined in? Right then, so got a water spray. So again, you've probably seen this technique with pens, with other types of inks. And I'm going to use like a kind of mix of these purples, and I've got some greens there as well. So I'm just going to move this into the middle so you can see where I'm putting the ink. So I'm going to try and get these purples to blend into each other. So I'm just using the corner because they're quite large pads. I'm not worrying too much about if I get any of the leafy bits. In fact, can I put... You're not going to see the colour as much, but at least you can maybe see. Is that any better to see where I'm putting it? I'm just using the tip. So that one's quite vivid. That's Wilted Violet. This one's a bit more pinky, look. This one's Seedless Preserve. I think this would work quite well as a heather as well as a lavender, do you think? That's the purples, and then I'm not going to put it on yet, but I'm just seeing, yeah, I do need to put some green pretty much all the way over the leaves. So I've got two different greens. I've got this one, which is Peel Paint, and the Crushed Olive. So I like greens to look quite natural looking rather than very bright and emerald when I am using them for leaves and things like that. If you've ever studied any painting, they always say green is the hardest colour, you know, like in a pan or in a tube of paint to get right, because it can look so unnatural. So lots of artists will recommend that you mix your own greens for paint rather than, or mix something else into your green to make it look more natural. Anyway, so I've spritzed a little bit of water on there, and I'm going to go across and just stamp that on. So you should get that nice bleedy look then. It's very, very loose. Could even spritz a little bit more and let it run on purpose, like just to go into each other. So that's great. What I'm going to do now is just wipe these off, and I'm going to stamp again in a slightly different position. But dry this one off first so that it doesn't all smudge into each other. It'll kind of layer up. So I've got a tiny bit of a little bit of excess there. In fact, let's get some tissue and that'll... Oh, Irene, is it your birthday? I've just seen... Oh, fabulous. Happy birthday. Is it actually today, Irene? Oh, and he needs the chiropodist for a toe, is she? Bless her. Okie doke. So let's give that a little... Oh, it was your birthday yesterday. Oh, well, happy belated birthday. Apologies that I missed seeing it was your birthday. Okay, so you can see I've got a tiny little mark there where I've splashed and then smudged it, but I'm not going to worry about that because you know what, I was going to do my sentiment coming across from this side anyway, so I can cover that up. Or you could stamp from the other corner as well, couldn't you? So just check these are clean and dry before I place them down. So let's go, might need to move, shuffle around. I want it to look like quite full of this lavender. Oh, purple's your fave colour, Jo. I know everybody tells me off because I don't do enough purple, so. And let's have this one. How about there? So same thing. Mix in a bit of the purples again. Obviously, if you haven't got any kind of coloured ink pads, another way that you could do this is, me and Tony before have used the water-based Gossip pens or any other water-based pen where you go on the side. You've seen us do that before, or I've even gone with a watercolour pan and painted directly on. It looks a bit weird on the stamp because it looks like it pours, but because you spritz then on there, actually it comes out really super cool. And I'm sure we'll be doing some of that with some of the designs for next week's release as well, because they look really good like that. Oh, nearly went to put purple on my leaves. Although you could have purple leaves if you want, couldn't you? Why not? So again, we've experimented before, haven't we, of spritzing the paper, spritzing the stamp first. You do whichever you feel goes well for you. Oh God, that has really gone. A big drop then just fell off the stamp. Right, I'm coming back to this in a moment. What I am going to do before I come back to that is on another piece of card, because I want to show you how to use the dies as well. Let me grab another piece, and I'm just going to do another two of the small lavender, because I want to be able to layer those on top as well and give it some extra dimension. So just this one. So I think if I'm not using much, it kind of might be a waste if I'm using the larger. See if we can get two stamped off that. Might need to add a bit more ink. Oh, is that true, Susan? Yellow roses are for friendship. I love yellow roses. So we've got two little extra ones. Woo! I've just got out that to wipe the stamp and it is flying across the room. It's a good job I don't need it again, isn't it? Otherwise I'd be getting Nathan to crawl across the floor. Well, never done that before. Couldn't do that again if I tried. So they're quite kind of light and sketchy now. What I'm going to do is use the inks now to kind of colour in a little bit too. So on my Eureka, I'm going to kind of use as a mat, and I'm going to squidge a bit of these colours on and use them like a paint. But of course, like I said, if you haven't got these, use some actual paints or whatever you've got for your colouring. So that's like my palette. I'm going to drop a bit of water. I don't know how Tony copes with that water thing. It sprays out like a crazy person. And I've got a smallish brush. This is a 5. Shall I go smaller? Yeah, it's very fine, isn't it, this design? Let's go for a 1. And I'm literally mixing in and kind of like making my own paint. And I'm not going to sit here and do it like light and shade and like I've done in some other demonstrations. This is just about filling in some of those gaps so it looks more like a solid lavender. Put bits with more water than others to give you just that kind of natural flowy look, but very, very loose. The inks are water based, so they're going to start bleeding into the line as well, and you almost get like a no line colour in then, which I know lots of people like the look of, don't they? Oh, we didn't put any of the really pale one, did we? Milled lavender, that's the really pale. It's kind of mixed, I think, on my palette. Just watching lavender being painted makes me feel relaxed. Ah, thank you, Jo. Did anybody see my Facebook page today on my own personal one? And it came up on, what's it called when it shows you your old ones? Time Hop. That I must have shared on this day last year, one of those meme things where it says somebody told me that lavender is relaxing. So this is me, and it's like a woman lying down absolutely covered from head to toe in lavender, and I thought I've got to share that because I'd already planned to do this for you today, so it was meant to be. So I'm really trying to mix in the shades, and even where this overlaps, look, and you can see, normally I'd say mask this off so you don't want overlapping, but because it's that lovely loose, it won't matter once you start to fill in these little gaps. Just decide what you want to sit in front and paint that first, and then do your leaves behind, and it won't make any difference. You're talking about Tony doing a navy card. Oh yeah, I'll ask her. I love using navy card. And greys. She uses a lot of grey as well, doesn't she? I think I've got too much ink on here, really. I really hate wasting any ink. I think if I was, I could probably get a background out of some of this by smooshing it if when we're done. We'll have a go. Right, so I think that's the purple done on that bit. Let's just come into this one over here. Kind of want it a little bit lighter. So it kind of looks like then the ones in the foreground are maybe in the sunlight a little bit more. I sound like I know what I'm talking about then. I'm just making that bit up as I go along. Obviously when it's this small one, it can be very difficult to get in every little nook and cranny to colour them in individually, so I'm just kind of letting the water and a bit of the ink do the job for me. And I just quite like that loosey look anyway, do you? Right, I'm just going to clean my brush off with a little bit more water. See, if you haven't got a pot to hand, you can just use any surface, and then let's go in with the greens and do the leafy bits. Very, very loose. In fact, I might go up to the next. Told you I was making it up as I go along. Go into the larger brush, because then I can, it's quite wet, I can maybe do it more like a single stroke for the leaves if I can. The looser the better for this kind of thing. And thank you for all your lovely feedback on my studios and YouTube videos lately. I'm really enjoying doing some different things for you and lots of different ideas. And I know that we're all going to be at home more, so why not have lots of lovely inspiration to keep us going, eh? It's almost starting to look like a real painting now, isn't it? So then just to this small one. And then these little ones, like I say, I'm going to die cut and we're going to kind of layer them over the top, I think. Do you think it needs any splats? Might decide once the extra bits are layered on before I do it and it looks too messy. Oh, hi Sue, don't worry that you're late, you can always go back to the start later on and watch. Right, so just before I get rid of die cuts, yeah, should we see if we can do something with that? It's such a shame to waste all that lovely ink, isn't it? I should have just put the tiniest bit down. Let's see if we can get a couple of backgrounds out of that. Right, just gonna spritz. Honestly, I'm throwing everything everywhere. Now I'll probably do two separate 5x7 or A5s there, but I've only got an A4 piece to hand, so let's do one with the greens and the pink, because I can always chop them down after. Might be a bit too wet, we'll see. I'm sure we can do something with it. Lovely. Yeah, maybe slightly too wet, but you know what? It's better than wasting it, isn't it? I can chop into that, die cut into it, stamp over the top. I'll pop that aside to dry and give this a little wipe down now. Right. So it's almost dry because I just spent that bit of time doing the backgrounds, but just to make sure so it doesn't smudge everywhere. Just give it a last blast. You're talking about lime tree card. Yes, I always see them when I'm doing the craft shows at like NEC and the Crafting Live ones and things like that. The guy's always there, isn't he? And it's really good. So the die with this set, like I said, is an outline of the large and the small and a matte layer. I'm just using this little one for today. But I try and squeeze in extra ones, even if you don't need to use them all for the same card. You've got loads of different options then, haven't you? I'm so missing the craft shows, and I know Kerry, who sometimes does them with me, I know she is too, and she likes to shop at them as well, like I do. Marion says same stamp, same colours, but they look different. Did you mean the two small ones that we're cutting out now? Yeah, it's just mixing your ink colours a bit and just playing around. Enid just text Amanda, sends a love. Oh, how lovely. So that's the one. Do the other one. Do you ever feel like you could do with multiple of every die, so you could cut, you know, multiples all through one pass? It would cost an absolute fortune, wouldn't it? Nobody would ever do it. But if you're bulk making or you need multiples of one for a card, that would be cool. And there's the other one. So just get rid of that die. So I'll keep you in suspense. I'm not going to put that bit together until I've done my sentiment. So I had a bit of scraps black card somewhere, didn't I? Do you think I can find that now? And I'm going to heat emboss white on black, I think my usual. Pure white. So if you haven't seen these are our luminosity embossing powders. So really fine, we've got loads of different colours and glitter ones now, metallic ones, all that kind of thing. So if you're looking to top up your stash, or if you haven't tried embossing at all, then I do recommend you give them a go. So let's do anniversary wishes. What weight card am I using? This is, it's about a 240, I think, 250. Personally, I don't go down any lower than that for much other than pattern papers, and I still like a 200 even for that. I prefer things on the thicker side because you don't get things showing through then, or you know, when you glue things down you can almost see where the glue is because it soaks in. But it's personal preference, isn't it? So a bit of anti-static. Don't worry that it dulls the black, that will come off after. For those of you that haven't done much embossing before, do check out my videos on my channel, Claire Manning Craft, because there's absolutely tons. Yeah, Amanda, I go right up to a 300 GSM as well, a lot of the time. Some people find it too thick, but I love working with the thicker cards. Question. Are you at the craft show in November? Do you mean the NEC one, Anne? I think everything's been cancelled now. Definitely, if you mean the NEC one, that has been cancelled. And I think Motorcycle Museum for November hasn't officially been cancelled, but I can't see it going ahead if we've if there's still no events at the moment, is there? But you know, if these things are on, if things loosen, every time, every NEC, and every motorcycle museum I do, unless we're on holiday or something like that, but we try to make sure our holidays are outside of those show times now. Oh, Amanda, you would have come to the NEC. Oh, it would have been so nice to meet you. I'm so missing meeting people. May, the one in Glasgow, is that one of the ICHF ones? Is it Creative Craft? That's the same, if that's right, it's the same organisers as NEC. So there we go, anniversary wishes. I might chop off a little bit of that, maybe. Let's have a look. Let's see, put it together and see where we are. So I just want this bit to sit flat. So to use some double-sided tape. Oh, it's, yeah, NEC is a hospital. Part of it, yes. What they've done, because I live just literally up the road from there, is they have still got halls available for events, and they were still going to do it until the changes in the last couple of weeks, where events and things like that. Oh, I think that was still a bit wet, look, never mind. They were going to start doing some small events from October, weren't they, and ramping that up again, but it's just changed now. But the Nightingale Hospital is in a separate bit, so it's just outside of the main building. So as I say, I didn't put a matte layer because I fancied the white on white with this, but totally up to you. So now it's just a case of deciding where we want this. So yeah, I think I will do something with that. And then I wanted these layered over the top, I think. Something like that. Let's have that raised. I keep meaning to bring some more foam pads with me because I'm running low here. What have I got left? Find some tape. Oh, you've got an anniversary card to do, Irene, so hopefully this has given you some ideas. Where have I put those little small pads? I only had them about half an hour ago. Excuse me a second. They're probably on the floor with everything else, aren't they? I'll chop up some of these. May, you've got a 40th to make a card for us using the perfume bottle. Oh, lovely, you're enjoying it. Fabulous. No, that's gone. That's dead. Maxine, you normally go to the NEC as well? Yeah. Really missing people face to face. But if any of you guys are interested, I am going to do some online classes. So keep an eye out again on social media. I'll probably start them just after the TV stuff next week. Get that all out of the way. And I'll tell you how we'll use like Zoom or something like that and do some video ones, some card making, maybe some watercolouring painting if you'd like that kind of thing. Oh, it's not very straight, is it? Let's try again. I think it moved. where I re-stuck it down. Bit of extra glue will hold it in place. I think it's because I was looking at the screen, reading all your lovely comments rather than looking at what I was doing. But use some Marmala stamps to make cards for my youngest. Ah, birthday today. Oh, lovely. Just straightening off a little bit. There we go. So yeah, you get a nice bit of texture there and dimension by layering on the couple. You could still keep it just the one layer, of course, if you want, and just build up doing more and more in the background. But I think just adding a couple of the die cuts there. God, that one is really wobbly, isn't it? It's because I ripped it off and repositioned it. I'll make it straight in a bit, don't you worry. But hopefully that's given you some ideas. Even if you haven't got this stamp or not going to get it, you know, try it with your other floral ones, that stamping with a distress ink or coloured ink. If it's a water-based one, you'll be able to move the colour from the edges and smush it on a surface like I've done there to use it like a paint. So it's a good way to use up your inks for other things too. Oh, thank you for your beautiful comments. So yeah, exciting stuff coming next week. Tomorrow you've got Pretty Penny. Dawn's back with Pretty Penny on Crate and Craft. I'm not quite sure what time she's on, but I'll make sure whatever I'm putting out on social media about my stuff doesn't clash, so you can, if I'm doing a quick Facebook Live or something. And I will see you, I was going to say Thursday then. No, we've got 1 p.m. Sunday. Just recorded that for you. And then Wednesday, Crate and Craft, and then Thursday back here again. So have a great afternoon, everybody. Sending good vibes, and I hope you're all well, and see you soon.